Midnight drifted past without ceremony, yet in the stillness on Queensboro Avenue, only a single light glowed, a pale, sleepless beacon in the otherwise seamless dark. It burned above the tired, masculine features of Travis Victor Alexander, illuminating and shadowing a life balanced on contradictions. The 30-year-old motivational speaker had mastered the art of public optimism, selling uplift and possibility to conference crowds, reminding strangers they were born to thrive. Welcome to Timeless Mysteries. Please like and subscribe. But on this private night in May 2008, he lay back in the gloom, phone held inches from his face, its cold glow carving a deep frown through his usual grin. He didn't want another text from her. His phone chimed again. Please, anyone but her. Yet the unresolved chapters of a love story gone wrong refused to let him forget and move on. When he finally looked, fury filled him, drowning the better parts of himself as he typed with a vengeance that startled even him. "You are the worst thing that ever happened to me," he wrote, thumbs striking the glass, hard enough to sting. "You are a sociopath. You have scammed me," he had said, watching the words vanish into the ether, then tossing his phone to the other side of the bed. Wanting to rid himself of the monster he was becoming, he exhaled a sharp, frustrated hiss that did nothing to cool the heat behind his temples. His friends had warned him that Jodi was dangerous. Travis himself had half joked, "Don't be surprised if you find me dead one day because of her." Now, staring at the harsh words he sent, Travis feels a mix of relief and regret. He doesn't know it yet, but this late-night eruption of honesty is about to set something irrevocable into motion. Hundreds of miles away in Yreka, California, Jodi Arias sits upright in bed, illuminated by the pale light of her own phone. Travis's reply, the one she's been pressing him to give, finally pings in. Eagerly, she opens it. As her eyes scan Travis's furious words, her face goes still, line after line. Insult after insult washes over her. He calls her evil, says she's hurt him more than anyone ever has. He says he never knew the real her, that she's the lowest thing in his life, the worst thing that ever happened to me. The words stab at Jodi. Her cheeks burn hot, then abruptly go cold. It's as if something inside of her breaks or hardens while reading his tirade. She blinks back a sudden well of tears, but those tears do not soften her. They evaporate in a flash of resolve. If Travis wanted to cut her out of his life with these cruel words, well, she wasn't going to let him have the last word, not this time. Her love for him had curdled slowly into this obsession over the past year. She had given up so much, her home, her stability, even her religion, for him. She endured his rejections, his attempts to date other women, all the while hoping to remain indispensable to him.
I kept hearing about incidents where he was trying to hook up with other girls, but then he would deny it, and I didn't see anything, so there was just a lot of turmoil. We were arguing still, and then the physical incident that happened there, and I needed to just remove myself from the situation so that I could allow my heart to move on a little, and so that break from him, I thought, had helped me a lot.
Now this final humiliation, Jodi's pain, quickly twists into something else, something darker. Perhaps Travis's rejection might have driven another woman to walk away forever. But Jodi Arias is not any woman. In the silence of that midnight, Jodi makes a decision that will shatter more than just both of their lives. Over the next few days, Jodi moves with eerie calm and purpose. On May 28, 2008, a curious incident occurs. A burglary at the home of Jodi's grandparents where she's been staying. Among the items reported stolen is a .25 caliber handgun. The authorities don't realize it yet, but that missing firearm will soon tie into a bloody crime. Jodi says little about the break-in. Perhaps only she knows it was no random theft. Around the same time, Jodi undertakes a subtle transformation. The vibrant blonde hair that Travis once ran his fingers through is suddenly colored a dark brown. Friends will later note how she changed her hair in late May, as if trying to assume a new identity or to avoid recognition. She also starts making careful plans for a long road trip. To anyone who asks, Jodi cheerfully explains she's going to Utah to visit some friends and attend a work conference. In truth, her plans are far more sinister and secret. She reaches out to an ex-boyfriend, Daryl Brewer, and sweetly asks if she can borrow some gas cans for her trip. When Daryl asks why, she offers only vague reasons, perhaps claiming she wants to save money on gas or that she'll be driving through long stretches of the desert. He finds it odd, but agrees. On June 2nd, 2008, Jodi drives to Daryl's house in Monterey, California, and picks up 2 5-gallon gas cans from him. She doesn't mention that Arizona, where Travis lives, is one of her stops. In fact, she studiously avoids leaving any hint that she plans to see Travis at all. That same day, June 2nd, Jodi also goes to a budget rent-a-car in Redding, California, a town several hours from her home, and rents a car for the trip. She specifically requests an economy car in a neutral color. She turned down the bright red fancy model in favor of a smaller, subtler one. Supposedly, to avoid police attention on the highway, or so she'd later claim. With the rental secured, she begins her journey. On June 3rd, Jodi is on the road, heading south. She stops in Salinas, California, early that morning, where receipts later show she purchased a third 5-gallon gas can at a Walmart. 3 gas cans in total now, plus her car's tank. More than enough fuel to drive hundreds of miles without stopping. By afternoon, she's in Pasadena, near Los Angeles, filling up all 3 gas cans and her tank as well, effectively stockpiling roughly 15 extra gallons of gas. This way, when she heads east into Arizona later, she won't need to stop for gas there, leaving no paper trail in Travis's home state. It's a clever plan to avoid detection. No receipts, no credit card swipes, no CCTV footage of a blonde girl at an Arizona gas station. As she pumps gas in Pasadena, the California sun beating down, Jodi is spotted by no one who knows her. If any passerby notices the slender young woman with the long brown hair methodically filling red gas cans, they think nothing of it. Twilight descends as Jodi drives into the desert night. She turns off the cell phone somewhere along the way, perhaps just before crossing the border into Arizona, so that no cell towers can record her route. The road ahead is long and dark, a ribbon through the barren Mojave landscape. Inside the car, Jodi is alone with her thoughts. What is she feeling? Anger? Anticipation, or a chilling calm born of conviction? Maybe she plays music to drown out her thoughts, or maybe she drives in silence, the only sound the steady hum of the car's engine. Hour after hour, mile after mile, she presses on through the darkness, fueled by a singular focus. In the early hours of June 4th, 2008, sometime before dawn, Jodi Arias pulls into Mesa, Arizona. Travis's home at 11428 East Queensboro Avenue is dark and still. At this hour, she has arrived unannounced, well before anyone would be awake. What happens next in those morning hours is known only in fragments, reconstructed later from forensic evidence and Jodi's own shifting stories. We can imagine Travis awakening to the sound of an unexpected visitor, perhaps a soft knock at the door, or the sound of a familiar voice whispering his name. Maybe Jodi let herself in quietly. She had done that before, sneaking in through a doggy door. However it happens, Travis realizes that Jodi is here in his home despite everything. Maybe his first reaction is shock or annoyance. After all, he didn't invite her. But Jodi Arias can be very persuasive. She might have been contrite, apologizing for the fight, or crying at his doorstep. Travis has a compassionate heart, even after all the vicious words he wrote just days before. Part of him surely felt guilty and concerned, yet there's always been this undeniable physical chemistry between the two of them, an intoxicating pool. Time and time again, they had broken up and then fallen back into bed. By now, it was a toxic cycle they both knew too well. By the time the sun rises on June 4th, Jodi is inside Travis's house. His two roommates are either out or still asleep, and they do not realize she's there. In the morning light, Jodi and Travis behave strangely, like old friends or lovers making up. Exhausted from her travel, Jodi curls up next to Travis, and they sleep for a few hours. When they wake up in the early afternoon, any tension from their previous fight seems to have dissipated or been shoved under the rug. Perhaps they eat a late breakfast together, laughing awkwardly about something trivial. Perhaps Travis can't quite stay angry in person. Jodi's presence has a way of softening his resolve. Before long, the two slip back into familiar intimacy. They retreat into Travis's bedroom and close the door. In that private world, all the anger and accusations are temporarily forgotten. Desire takes over. They spend the next few hours in bed making love as they had so many times before. In snapshots later recovered by police, Jodi is seen posing nude on Travis's bed, and Travis is similarly photographed naked, smiling and relaxed. These images freeze a moment of deceptive calm. Two ex-lovers entwined on a quiet Wednesday afternoon, indulging in forbidden passion despite the storm that looms. At some point that afternoon, Travis takes a shower, perhaps getting ready for an evening meeting or simply to rinse off after their intimacy. Jodi is there with him in the bathroom, camera in hand. Travis, ever playful, lets her take a series of photos of him as he showers. He flexes, smiles, maybe feeling a little bit shy, but enjoying the attention. It is 5:29 p.m. when Jodi snaps a photograph of Travis Alexander standing in the streaming water, head thrown back under the shower faucet. In this image, we are looking at one of the last pictures of Travis alive. He appears unaware of any danger. The water pours over his face and shoulders. He might be washing shampoo from his hair, eyes closed, as Jodi's camera clicks. What happens next defies full comprehension, but the evidence suggests a sudden explosive violence. Perhaps as Travis turns away to shut off the water or wipe his face, Jodi quietly sets the camera down and reaches for a weapon. She may have had a knife hidden nearby, maybe a knife from his very own kitchen, or a knife she brought with her. With the roar of the shower masking any sounds, Travis doesn't hear Jodi approach from behind. Then, in an instant agony, Travis doubles over with a sharp, stinging pain in his back and then in his chest. Jodi has plunged a knife into him without warning. Travis gasps and flails, the shower still running, water mingling with blood as he's stabbed again and again. He manages to push past her, wounded and terrified. He staggers out of the shower. A trail of blood splashes across the bathroom floor and into the hallway as Travis desperately tries to escape the onslaught. He's a former wrestler, strong, but adrenaline and shock are flooding his system. He's gravely injured and cannot understand why the woman he was just kissing is now attacking him. Jodi's face in this moment, we can only imagine. Is it twisted in rage or blank with determination? She follows him as he crawls or stumbles away, knife in her hand, relentlessly stabbing. Travis slips on the floor. His blood is everywhere now, smeared on the walls, on the carpet of the hallway. He manages to stay on his feet for a few moments, trying to get back to the stairs or perhaps to a door, but he doesn't make it. He collapses in the hallway just outside of the bathroom, a red slick spreading beneath him. Jodi pounces. She continues to stab him over and over in a frenzied blur. Later, the medical examiner will count 27 separate stab wounds on Travis's body. Finally, with Travis bleeding profusely and barely clinging to life, Jodi takes the knife, and in one gruesome motion, she slashes open his throat from ear to ear, instantly silencing any pleas he might have been uttering. The house falls quiet, except for Jodi's own ragged breathing and the steady patter of the shower in the next room. Travis Alexander lies motionless, crumpled on the floor, his life pouring out onto the tile. To be certain he's dead, or perhaps as a final vindictive act, Jodi retrieves the .25 caliber handgun. In a flash and a deafening crack, she fires a shot point blank into Travis's head. The bullet enters his brow. Later analysis will suggest Travis was likely already dead or near death by then, as the gunshot showed little bleeding. But now it is finished. Travis's warm, vibrant voice will never be heard again. Jodi stands over him, chest heaving. Water from the shower pools at the bathroom threshold, mixing with swirling ribbons of red. The air smells of clean water, blood, and fear. In the midst of this horror, the digital camera, the one that Jodi had been using to photograph Travis, lies on the bathroom floor, accidentally dropped during the struggle. Its shutter clicks chaotically, perhaps kicked by a foot. Incredibly, it captures unintended images, one blurry picture of the ceiling and another of part of Travis's bloody body dragged across the floor with what might be a woman's leg in the frame. Timestamps later show these accidental photos were taken in the moments after 5:30, a mere minutes after Travis's final posed shower picture. The camera, though drenched and seemingly destroyed, has preserved a scant few snapshots of the murder in progress. Jodi's chest is splattered with blood, her hands sticky and trembling. The man she once loved, the man who said he wanted to marry her at one time, lies butchered at her feet. A sane person might break down in hysterics at this point, but Jodi does not. Instead, an icy practicality takes hold. She knows she has to cover up what she's done, and quickly. Travis's roommates could return at any time. And though luck is on her side, they were out for the evening as fate would have it, but she can't be sure. She drags Travis's lifeless body back into the master bedroom. Blood smears along the walls and floor in a terrible trail. She manages to heave his heavy, limp body into the shower stall, perhaps hoping the water will wash away the evidence or simply contain the mess. The shower water is still running over him, diluting some of the blood into pink rivulets that flow down the drain. It's a ghastly sight. This once energetic young man is now slumped in the shower, neck gaping, eyes staring blankly. Jodi turns away and sets about trying to erase her presence from this scene. She grabs towels, maybe toilet paper, frantically wiping down surfaces she might have touched. In her frenzy, she leaves a bloody palm print on the hallway wall, not realizing that in that print, commingled are both her blood and Travis's blood. It's a piece of evidence that will later prove her guilt. She finds the digital camera on the floor, knowing it contains those explicit photos of them earlier, and perhaps aware that it might have captured more, Jodi pulls out the memory card. Jodi attempts to delete the pictures one by one, thinking she's erased the incriminating images, but deleting is not the same as destroying, a fact she likely doesn't know. To be safe, she takes the entire camera and stuffs it along with the towels or maybe Travis's bedding that she had used to clean up into the washing machine down the hall. She pours in bleach or detergent and starts the cycle, hoping to ruin whatever evidence might remain on the device. The washing machine churns, water sloshes, the camera flashes intermittently inside that soapy tomb as it strikes the sides of the drum. Jodi gathers the tools of her crime, the bloody knife and the .25 caliber gun, and then takes them with her. Neither will ever be found by the police. Presumably, she later ditched them in some remote spot on her drive out of Arizona. She peels off her blood-soaked clothes and finds clean ones, perhaps raiding Travis's closet for a pair of sweats or using spare clothes she had brought. She washes her hands and face in the sink. In the mirror, she catches a glimpse of herself. Wide-eyed, hair disheveled, an inscrutable expression on her face. There is no time to waste, she tells herself. With the stage set to feign innocence, Jodi finally leaves Travis's house. The evening of June 4th is turning into night as she slips away unnoticed by neighbors. She gets back into her rental car, which now carries the dark secrets of what she's done. Pulling away from the quiet suburban street, Jodi disappears into the warm Arizona night, heading north towards Utah as if nothing had ever happened. Behind her, in the bathroom of that house on Queensboro Avenue, lies unspeakable carnage, but nobody is there to witness it, not yet. The home falls silent, except perhaps for the faint whimpering of Napoleon, Travis's dog, somewhere in the house. Sensing that something is very wrong, about 6 hours later, she retrieves her phone, which has been off, and powers it on. Knowing Travis's phone will soon be evidence, she calls his voicemail and leaves him a cheerful, almost casual message, something along the lines of, "My phone died, so I wasn't getting back to anybody. I drove 100 miles in the wrong direction. So fun, I'll tell you all about it later." She goes on to say some more things, mentioning her friend Heather. Heather and I are going to see Othello on July 1st. We would love it for you to accompany us. She's making plans that she knows will never happen. These communications are utterly perfidious. They're meant to make it seem as if she was nowhere near Travis at the time of his murder, as if she was an innocent friend who was looking forward to seeing him in a few weeks. In reality, as she's crafting these alibi messages, Travis's lifeless body is growing cold in the shower. Jodi drives through the night and into the next day, June 5th, en route to West Jordan, Utah, where a young man named Ryan Burns is expected to see her. Ryan is a colleague from work, a potential new love interest Jodi has been flirting with. She's all smiles and seemingly lighthearted, as if she hasn't got a care in the world. Ryan notices two peculiar things about her right away. First, Jodi, whom he'd known as a blonde, now had dark brown hair. Second, she's wearing sweater sleeves on a hot day and has bandages or cuts on her hands. Jodi casually explains the cuts as an accident. She'd cut her fingers on broken glass while working at a restaurant. Ryan has no reason to doubt her. He also finds her changed hair attractive, and she shrugs it off as something she did on a whim. Over the next 24 hours, Jodi hangs out with Ryan as if she's just another traveler on a fun road trip. Astonishingly, less than a day after savagely killing Travis, Jodi is flirting, laughing, and even making out with Ryan. He later testifies that Jodi seemed totally normal during their stay. They attend business meetings for their conference. At night, they cuddle and kiss, watching movies. Ryan observes that Jodi's behavior raises no red flags. She doesn't appear anxious or upset. She giggles. She chats about mundane things, never betraying that anything is amiss. It is as though the events in Mesa were just a bad dream. At one point, when Ryan isn't looking, Jodi flips open her cell phone and casually checks the voicemail message she had left on Travis's phone.
You know the name of the person that is associated with that, right?
Yes, I do.
And what's the name that you believe is associated with that number?
Jodi Arias.
Making sure her alibi is in place. The foresight of this is as cold-blooded as it is calculated. Back in Mesa, Arizona, Travis's friends are growing worried. Travis was supposed to join them on June 10th for a work-related trip to Cancun, Mexico. It was a vacation he had been excited about, which he had planned to take a new female friend, Mimi Hall. In early June, Travis had been eagerly coordinating details of this Cancun retreat, so when Travis falls uncharacteristically silent for several days, not answering calls, not returning texts, his friends sense something is wrong. Mimi, the friend slated to go to Cancun with him, hasn't heard from him since June 4th. By June 9th, 5 days have passed with no word from Travis. He missed important work calls and church events. Concerned friends gathered on the evening of June 9th at his house, determined to check on him. They know he had roommates, but those roommates assumed Travis had left town early or was busy, since his bedroom door had been closed. For days, together, a small group of friends enter Travis's home. The smell hits them first, a dreadful odor of something foul, decaying. Heart pounding, one friend, Zach, races upstairs to Travis's master suite. He pushes open the door and is met with a scene from a nightmare. The floor is stained with dry blood. Down the hall, leading to the bedroom, huge reddish brown patches are smeared as if something or someone was dragged with trembling hands. They follow the gruesome trail into the bathroom. There, crumpled in the shower stall, is Travis. His body is bloated and covered in horrific wounds. It had began to decompose in the summer heat. The friends scream a sob, stumbling back in shock. One of them fumbles for their phone and dials 911, hysterically reporting what they had found. Between gasps, they immediately name the person they suspect responsible. His ex-girlfriend Jodi Arias. She's been stalking him. She's crazy. Even in their horror, they know this is the inevitable end they had all feared. Travis had told them that Jodi was unhinged, and now here he is, dead by unimaginable violence. A police officer arrived at the house and began a methodical investigation of the brutal crime scene. Seasoned detectives winced at the sheer savagery. Travis, a 30-year-old man in his prime of life, has been stabbed dozens of times. His throat was slashed. He had a bullet wound to his head. The bathroom looks like the aftermath of a slaughter. Blood is everywhere, on the floors, splashed on the walls, even pooled on surfaces, some partially diluted by water. Investigators also notice long strands of brown hair on the floor, stuck in dried blood, hairs that appeared to have come from a woman with Jodi's description. In the washing machine, they discovered soaked clothing, and amidst them, a damaged digital camera. Remarkably, the camera has a memory card. Though waterlogged, yields a trove of information once recovered. Time-stamped photographs from June 4th that show Travis and Jodi together on that day. The final pictures taken in the late afternoon show Travis alive in the shower at 5:29 p.m. Then, an indistinct image of him bleeding on the floor moments later. This evidence is damning. It places Jodi at the scene during the time of the murder. On the wall, crime scene techs find a latent palm print in blood. When tested, It turns out to be a mixture of Travis's blood and Jodi's, stamped by Jodi's left palm print on the wall. How chilling. A literal handprint of the killer, linking them together by blood. And on the floor, they collect a spent .25 caliber shell casing. Remember that stolen .25 caliber handgun from Jodi's grandparents' house? The police remember it too. The puzzle pieces begin to fall in place. It's looking more and more like this crime was premeditated and perpetrated by none other than Jodi Arias. Detectives contact Jodi on the phone soon after Travis's body is found. Playing it cool, Jodi expresses shock and sadness at Travis's death. She claims she hasn't seen him since April. She volunteers that she was nowhere near Arizona at the time. I was on a road trip in Utah, she says. On June 4th, I was probably near Nevada or somewhere. You can check. I got lost. I even called Travis that day to apologize for not coming by. Indeed, she sounds upset, even crying on the phone to officers about how her dear friend Travis had been killed by some awful person, but the investigators already have evidence that contradicts everything that she's telling them. Travis's friends and family tell police about Jodi's obsessive behavior and about the tire slashings and her jealousy. One friend flat out calls Jodi a stalker who wouldn't leave Travis alone. All eyes have turned to Jodi Arias as the prime suspect. It doesn't take long for Mesa police to gather enough probable cause to bring a case against her. On July 9th, 2008, a grand jury in Arizona indicts Jodi Arias for first-degree murder of Travis Alexander. She is still in Yreka, California, living with her grandparents, when on July 15th, police quietly move in to make the arrest. In the afternoon heat of that day, officers knock on the door and Jodi answers, surprised to find herself staring at handcuffs. They take her into custody and charge her with the gruesome slaying of the man she once claimed to have loved. In a final macabre touch to this prelude of story, it's revealed that Jodi had sent flowers to Travis's grandmother shortly after Travis's murder, as well as a bouquet to his funeral. This tragic saga, however, is far from over. In the coming months and years, Jodi Arias will spin a tangled web of lies about what happened that day. Up next, the trial of Jodi Arias. As always, stay kind, be vigilant, and always question the truth. I'll catch you in the next video.